Oh wow. Hi everybody. Hey Fahad. Are you there?
Hello. Yes, I'm here.
Hey, we're live already.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just yeah, just jump straight into it and there's a few people here already.
Cool. Cool. Cool.
So, yeah. If everyone could just say hi, it'd be good to know this is working. Uh can anyone see the chat? Is that working on the side? Um we'll wait a few minutes here just to get things going. I see someone raised a hand asking Q&A. Maybe I chat is deactivated. Okay, yeah. Let me. Did that work now? Hello world. There we go. Awesome. Hey Luis, Mauricio, Pedro, Mariana, Samir, Diego, Thiago, Eduardo. Wow.
It's
Awesome.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you to everyone that's here. Thank you very much for being here and just like being interested, both in how we work with VanHack and in Neo in general. Like we've had fantastic success hiring through these events, and we love Latin American talent. It's great. Like people are so smart, so hardworking, and just like really nice. And so we love doing this as much as we can. So just want to say thank you again before we start to everybody that has taken time out of a weekday to chat with us. And we'll kind of kick off with some topics and then have a lot of open Q&A as well.
Thanks, Fahad. Yeah. So maybe give a few minutes for people to join. And while we do that, it'd be great if everyone could just say maybe where they're from and what their tech stack is. Just curious who everyone here is. Um, so yeah, just be curious just to know like what country you're in right now and what you work with. I like it. Node, React, JS, Python slash Brazil.
The
That's cool, Jorge. Um,
other Fahad is here.
oh, did you log in twice?
No, I think that's Eduardo, but I
Oh,
think
I
it's
see. Emmanuel from Norway, very cool.
Mhm.
Natal, Toronto, cool.
Very cool. Oh, shout out to Yasser from Pakistan. Just saying that because I'm biased because I'm also from Pakistan.
Stuff.
Great. Yeah, a lot of Node.js. It's great to see. Although, just to note, like we are technology agnostic when it comes to interviewing. And so, unless you're like, hey, I've only used this like old language called COBOL for 40 years and I don't want to learn anything new, like unless there's some edge case like that, we value any kind of tech stack knowledge that you have prior. Um, it's more about it's more about how folks solve problems using code, and we can always teach them Node and TypeScript and the stuff that we use, but it's more so how you solve the problem that's more important than just being familiar with our stack. So for anybody that was like on the fence about applying, and if you were on the fence about applying because maybe you come from a .NET background and we're all Node, it's okay. Like I would encourage you to apply and kind of try your best.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, give maybe 2, 3 more minutes. Or maybe we can just jump in and yeah, people can join as they join. So yeah, hi everyone. Welcome to this VanHack webinar about how to get hired in Canada in 2026. And today we're really excited to be joined with by the team at Neo Financial. So we have Fahad Zaidi. I hope I said that right. Uh,
Yeah.
who's the VP of Engineering at Neo. And recently, I believe, got promoted to the director of the office of the CTO, which is really cool. Um, and we also have, I guess, Eduardo here with us, who's a senior software engineer, um, and maybe one more person joining in a bit. But essentially, we're going to be talking about what you can do to prepare yourself to get hired. Hearing from Eduardo and Julia about how they relocated to Canada recently, and answering all your questions. So that's essentially the outline. And then for anyone who might not be aware, we're actually bringing the Neo financial team down to Sao Paulo, Brazil, on December 6th and 7th to do an in-person hiring fair where they'll be able to you'll be able to meet them in person and have an interview, which we found is really successful in terms of converting people who want to move to people who actually do move and making things happen. So yeah, without further ado, welcome to the webinar. And maybe we just start with some quick intros about both yourselves and Neo, for anyone here who doesn't know. And yeah, as everyone in the chat, we're gonna have plenty of time for questions, maybe in 20-ish minutes. If there's any questions that kind of pop up over, we'll answer them and maybe answer in the chat as well. So feel free to ask your questions and let's get into it. All right. So maybe we can start with Fahad or
Awesome. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Again, thank you very much for being here. Really appreciate everyone taking time to come and chat with us and ask questions. We love our Brazilians. We have a lot of great stories like Eduardo's of folks that we've hired, and then folks that have come over like Eduardo that have made an incredible impact on the company. And also, it's really nice to see us making a great impact on the individual as well in terms of supporting their growth, promoting them, and then specifically for Eduardo, like seeing him kind of grow his family as well in Canada has been really like rewarding. I've been at Neo for just over 3 years. And for most of that time, I spent time leading different teams at Neo. And so I led a lot of the backend teams at Neo in the past, like our payments team, our deposits team. I also led some of our lending org for a while as well. So built a lot of my teams built a lot of the backend that kind of powers the Neo products. And then I got a chance to lead data for a little while as well. And I also got a chance to lead front end for a little while as well, which I really enjoyed. And it's given me a great opportunity to kind of grow myself beyond just like being a back end leader or a front end leader. Like it's been really nice to take on new challenges that I probably wouldn't get to take on had I kind of decided to join a different company 3.5 years ago when I was looking. And in the past couple of months, I've stepped into a new role, which is under the office of the CTO, where I basically am responsible for all of our hiring in engineering. And so what that means is making sure we're writing interesting blog posts, we're doing interesting case studies with our vendors to make sure we're getting in front of really smart devs that builds kind of developer attraction. And then I also manage all of our hiring processes for basically all the roles that we have in engineering, and then also onboarding. And so if you do get successfully hired through this event, we'll get a chance to get to know each other a bit more through the onboarding program. We have a specific and dedicated onboarding program because we are technology and language agnostic upfront. And so it doesn't matter if you're from .NET world or a different stack or a different cloud. We really want to just hire people that are really smart, really passionate, have a lot of ownership, and can solve problems in creative ways, more so than just like knowing our stack, right? And then before Neo, I spent 4 years at another startup as a dev. And then I spent 5 years before that as a dev as well. And so I kind of come from the dev world a little bit, although I haven't coded in like 5, 6 years. So I'm pretty out of touch now. But I'll pass it over to Eduardo if you want to introduce yourself as well.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Fahad. So, hi, everybody. My name is Eduardo. I'm also originally from Brazil. I'm also like a VanHacker as well. So I came to Canada back in 2020, more or less. I came here to Calgary to do some interviews, and then I got hired to New. So just a couple background of myself. I'm originally from São Paulo. I spent some time also living in the south of Brazil, Santa Catarina. And yeah, I decided to move to Canada just because I was looking for more opportunities abroad, and then also to grow my career as well. Yeah, I joined New 2020 was right before the pandemic hit the world, and then everybody was just like locked down in their homes. Yeah, it was like very early in the stage of New as well. I joined New when we didn't have like a lot of customers at that point, and it's really nice to see how the company grew after that. Right now we have millions of users, which is super exciting. Yeah, I joined as intermediate dev here at New in the past, and then I got promoted to a senior. And then my current position is a staff developer here, helping several teams here.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I just looked up quickly, Eduardo. You got hired at November 2019. That must have been a interesting timing with everything happening in the world. And yeah, great to see a Van Hacker here. Um, okay, well, let's jump into the questions then. Maybe we can start a little bit about kind of Neo's engineering culture. What makes it unique? And actually, I think one thing to highlight is how fast Neo's been growing. I don't think everyone knows that here. I think it was 3 years in a row, Deloitte Fast 50 number one, and like 10,000% or something crazy growth.
Yeah,
And that must really shape the our engineering culture because you need a lot of really great product people to make everything work. So yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, we are. When we first started, Neo is the fastest unicorn in Canada ever. So we're the fastest company to ever become a unicorn in the whole country, which was a really great achievement. And beyond that, we are now also considered the fastest growing company in Canada, multiple years in a row, which is really awesome to be able to transform from just like being a fast growing startup to now just amongst all companies in Canada. We're not the biggest, like Shopify is the biggest, and then there's some of the banks are a lot bigger than us. But in terms of how fast companies are growing, no one in Canada is growing faster than us. And yeah, I completely agree with Ilya. I do think it has to do with our culture on the product and engineering side. I'll let Eduardo kind of take this one to give more of an answer from the lens of a dev. Like I can say things like we take a lot of ownership. We like people that are team players, but I think Eduardo can answer this more so from a developer perspective.
Yeah, for sure. I can take a stab on these ones. Like basically, I really enjoy like work here at New because we work in an environment that you can learn every single day, and everybody is free to take more responsibility as well. Yeah, as why we were talking about like language agnostic. We are also not always looking for a specific language. We believe that developers can easily learn new skills and then new language as they need. So yeah, like new is really great to move to be a step ahead from the market all the time. Also bringing more technology, more cool features for our products. Yeah, our tech side is as well is we have a really big team now, and with a lot of smart people here, so you can expect to learn every single day. You learn something new that you never thought about that.
Awesome. Um, yeah, I see the Neo stickers kind of all over the city here and different parts of the country where I go. It's very exciting. How many people just for to understand like how big is the org kind of how is it broken down? Just maybe to give people an idea of that.
Yeah, and engineering, we're now 140 people across all of Eng, so that includes managers and directors. So it's roughly, I would say, 12 teams or so. We want to get to about probably 180 to 200 by the summer. And so the company's, going to continue to grow, and we're probably going to continue to grow beyond that. And the reason we're growing that much is because similar to the early days of Revolut or the very early days of Nubank, Neo is, half the age of some of those companies, whereas Nubank has been around for 11, 12 years and Revolut's been around for 11, 12 years. Neo's been around for about 5 years. And, we have some products out in the market, like our credit card, we have a mortgage product, we have some deposit products, but we don't have everything that a user needs to have like a primary relationship with Neo as their main bank. And so because we have a lot of features to build, like international payments, wire transfers, check deposits, and there's a very long list of stuff that we can build. We need a lot more devs to be able to do those things, right? And so that's kind of what's facilitating. That's kind of what's driving the growth. So a little bit about that, and then in terms of team size, our teams are typically around, I would say, anywhere from 6 to 10 devs. We used to not have eng managers. We used to have like a senior become like a lead, and then a director. But as the company has grown, we've introduced the engineering manager role. And so right now, every single team doesn't have an eng manager, but that's part of our hiring plan is to get to a point by Q1 of next year where every single group of 6 to 10 devs that's on a team also has an engineering manager that's hands-on. So this is a hands-on technical manager that codes, reviews code, is very good at architecture, but is also there to help kind of steward the roadmap and make sure we're prioritizing the right things between tech and also product delivery. And then on top of that, this person also coaches and mentors people through their career development plan. Although we do expect all of our seniors to be able to coach and mentor juniors, intermediates, and all that kind of stuff. And then sometimes our teams get a little bigger. So sometimes we might have a team of like 11 or 12, and um, that will be specific to like hitting a deadline or hitting a specific project. Or if we're loading up a roadmap, if we're loading up a roadmap for a certain team, it might mean that we have to add more resources. But as soon as we get to 10, 11, we start to plan a split where that larger team turns into two distinct teams. And Eduardo and I have gone through this multiple times where like him and I worked together and it was like a team of three, and it became a team of 10 that became two teams, and then a team of 15 that became three teams. And so we really value like a smaller team size, kind of one direct kind of product stakeholder that's driving the roadmap and making sure we're building the right things, and then a ton of velocity behind that by having really good devs.
Awesome. Um, so I see, just want to quickly say, I see a lot of everyone asking questions in the chat. We'll definitely get to your questions. If you want to start putting questions into the Q&A as well, because then that way it won't get lost, because in the chat the question just gets lost. But we'll go through the Q&A once we finish. Um, all right. So, what is it that Neo looks for in an engineer? We kind of talked about that a few times, but what is it that you see a resume, you see a LinkedIn profile, you see someone, from that to like during the interview process, and then also like on the job, like what are the things that make people stand out and you say, yes, I want to hire this person?
Cool. I'll talk more on the softer side, and then Eduardo, I think you can jump in on the tech side. And so for us, folks that demonstrate they've worked in either other startups that are really fast paced, and so small teams that maybe had a big dream or a big ambition and tried to go after something big. I think is that really stands out. Or if you've worked at a big company that has a ton of users and is making a really great impact on the users through tech. So this is companies like Itaú, Nubank, C6, Mercado Libre. And it's not just those companies. Like there's a ton of companies in Latin America and across the world. But really, what stands out is if you joined a smaller team, like a smaller startup, we like that because smaller startups have a really high performance culture, and there's you have to take a lot of ownership at a smaller company because there just aren't enough people to do everything. So you have to wear multiple hats. We really like having that on our teams. And then a lot of companies like Amazon and these large Google, like a lot of these larger companies, also try to have that culture at a team level. And on at those companies, the code that you write is really impactful, and it has to be really high quality because you're impacting so many users, and so that experience stands out quite a bit as well. Like I mentioned earlier, we don't really care that much about tech stack, and so we typically don't check for like, hey, do you know JavaScript or do you know TypeScript or do you know GraphQL? You can come from any stack, any kind of background, and it's not often the devs that decide what the stack is. And so, why would we judge them? When it's like somebody else's decision. And
Mm.
so we're very tech agnostic on that front. But at a high level, we try to look for environments that maybe that person has been in that kind of mimic our culture, which is things like ownership, being a team player, and just being very user centric. So we're a D2C, direct to consumer company. We're a consumer brand, and so we want folks that have worked in places where doing what's right for the user is like the most important thing.
Yeah. Just to jump in here, like more in the technical side as well. Fahad kind of briefly talked about that as well, but like one example that demonstrates how we are not super attached to the languages that we are looking for here is that on the interview process, in all the phase that requires code, you can choose whatever language that you are more comfortable to use, because we do believe that once you join the company, you will be able to learn the tech quickly. Also, like new hires, always have like a lot of support from our team members as well. Since the onboarding, you can learn more about the domain and also the technical side as well. And then we assign some tech twins to you once you onboard. So the onboarding is more smooth on that case. So you can learn more. Things that we look often on the interview process, more like the good attitude, and then to see if the person is willing to learn all the time, and also open to feedback as well, like to also to understand others' opinions as well that may be different than yours. We also value that as well. Of course, like experience on the domain of like banking is something that shines if you have that piece of experience. But if you don't really have that, that's also fine. You can learn. I came from a totally different space. The company that I was working before wasn't related direct to banking, was more like to the issuing the credit card. But yeah, I could figure things out as we go over our activities here.
Very cool. Um, all right. Well, how about the city of Calgary? We I guess talking about immigration, relocation, you can move to many different cities around the world. Um, Neo is based in Calgary, and I know you guys are very proud of that. It's a great city, although the hockey team isn't the best. Ours isn't that good either this year. But yeah, how is it, living in Calgary? I mean, I know it's been ranked a lot of top kind of quality of life over the years. Maybe talk a little bit about that for people who've never maybe been there or know what it's like there.
Yeah, so I grew up out east in Pakistan. My family moved to Calgary when I was about 10, grew up here. I was very fortunate to be able to go to school in Chicago, and then I got a chance to work in Chicago, Boston, New York, and also England. And so I've had a chance to live in multiple different places as an adult. And for me personally, like as I got older, although cities like London, New York, Chicago are very exciting when you're younger, like as I got older and it was time to settle down and kind of think more long term, my mind would always kind of go back to Calgary because it's a very livable city for the long haul. And what I mean by that is anyone can come here even now. Like we've had a lot of people move here in the last 5 years because it is becoming a more and more attractive place for folks even within Canada to move here because for it's in this sweet spot of it's still smaller than like a Toronto or Vancouver and a lot more affordable than some of those larger cities. And it's bigger than all the smaller cities like Saskatoon, Winnipeg. No offense to those cities if they're listening, but it is bigger than those cities, even Edmonton, because a lot of larger companies in the past moved to Calgary and put their headquarters there. A lot of companies like Neo have started in Calgary and done really well. And there's another 400 or so companies, specifically tech companies that have started in Calgary in the last 5 years that are starting to do well. And so there's a lot of like really exciting jobs here. And so that attracts larger city people into Calgary and also smaller city people into Calgary. Because for larger city people, it's a much more attractive and affordable place, and for folks that come from smaller cities, it's a place that's attractive because it has more opportunity when it comes to your careers as well. And then it is a pretty cold city. Like I'll be honest about that. Like January to March, it's very cold. It gets closer to like -40 for like a day or two, and then typically it's like -20, -30 for some stretches of time. Although we do get these things called Chinook winds, and basically Calgary is very unique in that because of how we're positioned, just like on the planet. We get these winds that bring warm air to us, and so what happens in the winter is it might be -20, 25 for like 4 or 5 days, and then you'll have a day where the temperature jumps up 20 to 30 degrees. So it'll go from like -30 to -5 for like a day or two. And you get a bit of a break from like the cold, and then it goes back down, and then you get a bit of a break. So it's almost like these like cold sprints versus like a long haul cold winter that a lot of other colder cities will experience, like a Toronto or Montreal. And then Calgary is also one of the sunniest cities in the world. And so we get over 300 days of sunshine per year. And that's really awesome. So like, even though it's cold, like you go outside, it's super sunny. It's a great mood booster, and it makes it a lot better to kind of live here, which I think also attracts people here. And yeah, overall, it's a city where even though people have moved here, even though there's been a lot of folks that have come here, and there's a bit of a boom in Calgary, it's still very affordable and still very possible to like achieve all of your life dreams. And so you can come here through your career, advance your career through a place like Neo, or even if you get an opportunity to join a different company, it's a great place to come to. And anyone in Calgary can have a goal of like buying a condo or buying a house, and over a reasonable amount of time, let's say 3 to 5 years, save up, get a down payment, but be able to buy a car, be able to buy two cars, be able to have a house that like you and your partner can live in, and you can raise your kids in it. All the schools in Calgary in most neighborhoods are very safe and like very good quality. Um, because it's still a growing city, we have a lot of newer schools and also new hospitals. Like we have a really large hospital in the south, although for folks that live here, maybe they're like, hey, we should have more hospitals, and we should. But because Calgary is still growing, one thing I notice about Calgary versus like other really large cities is a lot of our like trains or buildings or amenities are a lot newer, including houses. Like you can move to Calgary and like build your own new house in a couple of years, which is a lot nicer than like relying on really old infrastructure or old buildings to live in and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Just to talk about Calgary as well, a little bit here as well. Uh, Canada is the first country that I'm living abroad from Brazil. In Brazil, I lived in several cities there, since in the south to the northeast. Every Brazilian knows that it's pretty hot on that region of Brazil, and then I moved to Calgary. But I really love to be living here because like we have I'm not sure if you guys have like searching the web. You just put like Canada, and you see those big rock mountains, and also those beautiful lakes. Those lakes are like an hour from here, so it's pretty close, and you can just drive. Yeah, I agree with Fahad that during January, February is pretty cold here, but you also have activities that you can do outside as well. You can go to the snowboard, skis, and do some activities outside, which is pretty cool. You just need to have like the proper gear, and then you'll be okay. And then during the rest of the year, you have like the summer, spring, fall, which you can do many things outdoor and enjoy the life here. So Calgary is a really nice city to be living. Also, there's a bunch of big techs opening offices here. So we have Amazon, Google, IBM. So already a lot of big techs be opening offices here. So it's pretty cool. And also, it's a really nice city to grow your family. I'm on that phase of my life where I'm trying to settle down a little bit more and then have kids and all that. So it's pretty nice city to be building my family here. I'm really happy.
Awesome. And I'll just want to underscore the sunny aspect compared to other cities like where I live, it's not sunny that much. Um, and then also the housing affordability. That's another thing that we definitely don't have here. For sure, very attractive things about, settling down in Calgary and having a place where you could get that sunshine and also have a place to live that's big. I remember when I used to go to Calgary as a kid for swimming competitions, and we would stay at the families of the other teams that would host us. And I was so impressed by how large the houses were for all the families that lived compared to our little apartment in Vancouver. So yeah, great, definitely really great quality of life in that city. Um,
Sounds like VanHack might move to Calgary.
Yeah, well, we remote first, everywhere. But yeah, we'll have maybe a salesperson or something in the future. Cool. One thing I wanted to kind of talk about is the move. So Eduardo, you mentioned you relocated. Maybe you want to talk a little bit about what it was like actually having that move from Brazil to Calgary, because it's a life-changing experience, moving countries, so many different things. How was that experience for you? How did Neo support that? And then what advice do you have for other people looking to make the move to relocate?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, when I moved to Canada, it was like just myself, my wife, and a cat. That
Hmm.
was all, and a bunch of bags. Actually, we just bought like some boxes to put our stuff inside of those, and then we traveled to Canada. Was a pretty interest travel, I would say, to travel with a cat. But like beside of that, like everything was smooth after that. I had a lot of support from you on that time. They helped me quite a lot to settle down, to have a good apartment, and then also to support me on the first couple weeks and couple months to make sure that I was comfortable to actually work properly. Yeah, I received a lot of support from my managers on that time. Was really great experience, and also like even the members of my team, all the other developers, they were willing to help me out on like moving, building, assembling some for furniture. So it was really good.
Very cool. And you mentioned you were looking to have kids, settle down. Did you have a child yet, or is it kind of still in the planning
Yeah,
phase?
yeah. I just got like a brand new one. Uh,
Well,
is a girl, so she was born in January this year, like the middle of the winter. So yeah, she's already 9 months and a half now. So it's really nice to see like the support that we see from the government here as well, and then also it's a good environment to her to be growing as well. Like we have a really good schools as here as well, so I'm looking forward to she growing here like as we go.
nice.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Is Alice.
Ellis. Ellis. Cool. Cool. Like Ellis Island. Yeah. Immigrants. See?
Yeah.
The island in New York where the immigrants went through. Yeah. Oh, great name. Great name. Very cool. Congrats. Um,
We also had
Great.
people move here like with their kids. So like Luca is someone Eduardo and I work with quite a bit. He was at our last event. I believe he moved to Calgary with his wife and daughter, and so it's also great for folks that already have a family to be able to come through. And then we've also had folks move here with their furry family members, and so a couple people that we hired at the last event have actually like one person has like a very large dog, and so they were able to kind of bring them over too. Life changing for the pets as well to kind of grow up in a very scenic place. Like, from our office, you can see the mountains. Calgary's amazing for like all the parks we have for all your pets and stuff like that. And then we're very close to the mountains. So like it makes it a great place to live from that perspective too. Like there's always something like an hour or two away to go do that's like super unique and interesting, whether it's yourself or with your family or with your pets as well.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit more about career progression and development. I know, Eduardo, you mentioned you got promoted a few times, and also Fahad recently too, and the company's growing so fast. So I'm sure there's a lot of opportunity for people to progress in their careers. Once you do get hired, you make the move. what kind of are the opportunities for developers to progress in their career at Neo?
Yeah. So like mentorship is like something that we take really serious here. So everyone should have like their partner that we call here tech twins. Those those people are the ones that can help you to grow on the company and then also to do some checkpoints to see how you are progressing, how are what are the things that you should be improving on, and then also like here at New, you have a this opening space where everybody can uh, uh, try to get more challenge and more responsibilities to grow as well. So you're not like just assigned to a specific team and you'll be there forever just as a senior dev, for example. You have opportunities to grow as well. And then if you are willing to move towards like the leadership, you have the positions like the manager and directors. That's the position, the path that Fahad is looking uh, to move. Or you can also go through the technical side, and then you can become can become a senior, and then you can eventually become a staff developer, and eventually to be a principal as well. So we have like those two paths that people can choose, and also a lot of opportunity to grow as well.
Awesome. Well, I think that concludes the formal programming part of our formal part of our programming. So we have half an hour here just to do kind of an AMA, and I see there's already like 30 questions in the chat, 31 in the Q&A. So let's just go through those. The first one says the chat is deactivated, so I guess we already we already answered that. But let's go to here. Yatin asks, is Neo only hiring from Brazil?
Uh, uh, so this specific event that we're doing on December 6th is focused on Brazilian candidates. And so what we find that works really well is having an event like this kind of organizes us towards like an end goal versus just like forever interviewing folks. But as a company, we hire from everywhere. And so as a company, there's no limit or restriction of like where you're located. For senior developers, eng managers, staff developers, directors, we've hired all these positions from other places all over the world. And we also offer visa sponsorship and relocation assistance. And so there's no limit to where we can or do hire from. But specifically for the December 6th event, it's catered to Latin America because we've had a lot of success there. And so we want to do a concentrated effort to hire, as many people as we can that are super talented over that weekend.
Question: what if someone is, moved in another part of the world or another part of Latin America and open to fly to Sao Paulo?
It's up to them, but if it's also okay to like do the assessment and then we can interview you remotely. Like I would just hate it if like you came through and things didn't work out. Like I don't want it to be a bad use of their time. And so like the overall approach is for someone's a fantastic candidate, if they apply and we love their resume and they do a really great job on the take-home assessment, we'll make it work from our end. Whether it's, if they want to come meet us, that's great. If it's better to do the interviews remotely, that's also great. Like we won't let logistics kind of get in the way of us and an amazing candidate. Like obviously we want to interview as many great candidates over that weekend, but even for people in Sao Paulo or even people in Brazil that can't make it on the 6th, but they could meet us on the 7th, that's fine. If someone's already committed for that whole week and like, but is a fantastic candidate, again, we'll take them through the process. And if we identify their resume as like a top resume and they do a great job on the coding part, like we can interview them the week before, the week after remotely. Like, hopefully we can do 80-90% of the interviews we want to do that weekend, but like logistics should not get in the way of like us just interviewing as many great people as we can.
Awesome. And just a reminder, if you want to apply, just go to here's the link, and yeah, apply and we'll review your application and get back to you really soon. Um, all right. Just quickly, there was actually a VanHacker who flew from Cuba to Sao Paulo for a previous hiring fair. And now,
Yeah.
was able to get hired. So
Yeah.
I always think that's a pretty cool story.
Yeah.
Yes, the other recording will be shared on our YouTube channel, which is just youtube.com/VanHack. All right, let's keep rolling here through some of the questions. I think we kind of answered a few of these already. Um, are there companies from environmental services? Okay, no, any product. Any, there's a few questions kind of around the same topic of like, are there opportunities for other types of skills like ML, product design? A few people ask kind of questions like that. So, mobile engineer, QA. Um, so what about if you're in a different stack, other than like, back end or full stack developer?
Yeah. So again, this specific event is focused on full stack developers and backend developers. But if you're super talented in product design, experience, data, mobile, still send your information over to me, like either through LinkedIn or to Ilya or Cecilia at the company, because we do have openings in those areas. And even if you don't see an opening on our website, I know we are going to be growing the company quite a bit in 2026. And so don't hesitate to like reach out to either Ilya or myself if you're not a full stack or backend developer. And it's we're not going to focus on designers or product folks or data folks in this specific event that we're coming to for the 6th. But for again, for top resumes, I'll make sure we review them, and like our hiring manager, either whether it's for product design or any other kind of area of the company, we'll make sure those get reviewed pretty quickly.
Nice. Gabrielle asked a question here. I don't know if we explicitly went through this. Gabrielle asked, what are the steps in the hiring process? Like, first interview, second interview, third interview, etc.
Yeah, so for when we hire through VanHack like this, the way it works is you sign up for the event, and then VanHack folks will kind of vet every resume to kind of see if they meet the criteria, past experiences, and all that kind of stuff. And then for really qualified folks that have a really great resume, they'll be sent the take-home assessment. The take-home assessment is a little project that you complete on your own time, and then you kind of submit your solution to us. We then review your solution, and for context, we're probably going to get 200, 250 submissions of these assessments, and then we're going to pick probably the top 30 to be invited to the event. To the event. At the event, we do a culture interview, which is a 30-minute conversation with myself or a leader at Neo, which is all focused on culture impact and behavior to make sure we're aligned kind of on that culture impact perspective. And then we follow that up with a 1 hour interview that's all about architecture. And so kind of testing your problem solving with technical concepts ability there. And then for folks that do really well on both of those, we then move to offer stage. And so typically the week after the event, we start reaching out to people with the results. And then when we talk about offers, we kind of confirm your kind of expectations from a compensation perspective. We also then take time to explain our compensation strategy, which is it's a combination of competitive salary, bonuses for folks that are senior staff and above, and then also a really meaningful equity in the company as well. And so we kind of explain that strategy and then kind of get a sense of like what would work for you from a cash range perspective, and then put something together that is typically pretty unique for each person. And so what I mean by that is the offers that we make at Neo are not static. It's not just like one number and you take it or we kind of negotiate over it. We kind of lay it out for people, and then folks can choose how much of their comp they want to take as salary, how much of they want to take as equity, which kind of depends on each person. And so that's basically how the overall process works. And then once a person signs, we then get in touch. We have a dedicated team that gets in touch about the entire kind of immigration process.
Awesome. I see people, yeah, talking in the chat about all your careers page. I think everyone's on the careers page right now and saying, "Oh, there's a great role here, etc." Nice. All right. Antonio asked a question about opening the event in the south of Brazil. Just want to quickly say We will do it. We're doing the event in Sao Paulo just because it's the most central location, easy for everyone from all over the country to travel to. And so that's why it's in Sao Paulo. We probably won't be doing it in other cities, but maybe next year somewhere else. Like we definitely won't be. We'll be doing it in Sao Paulo this time, but maybe in the future. We did one in Colombia as well. So if anyone hears from Colombia, we did an event there. Maybe we go back. So always kind of thinking about strategically where to go for the next event. And it looks like some people are applying on the careers, Adriel. Nice. All right. Let's see. Any other questions that are kind of different?
One
Uh,
thing, one thing I just want to mention is we will also be offering the option of folks to start remotely while they're waiting for their immigration process to kind of
hmm,
conclude with Neo. And so it's not a mandatory requirement either. So just on a case by case basis, basically, if somebody accepts our offer and we're going through the immigration process with them, which can take anywhere from, I would say, 3 to 6 months, we'll have an additional conversation with them to see if they're interested in starting working with the company remotely while they're waiting for their kind of visa to get approved and everything. Some people take it, some people don't, and it's okay kind of either way. For some people, they prefer maybe having some more time off before they move, or some people prefer continuing to work for the company that they're working for until the visa is kind of approved and everything. For some people, they jump on the opportunity to start remotely and then move once all the paperwork's done. So there's that additional optionality as well.
very cool. Um, I like this question. Adriel asked, "Is AI coding allowed at Neo?"
Yeah, we're pro AI. Like we're not anti AI. For interviews, like in this case, we're doing take home, and we basically just raise the bar, and we just expect things to be done like a very kind of top or excellent level in terms of technical ability. And when we do live coding assessments, which is like our more standard process, for hiring, we just ask folks to not use AI in the interview process because we want to test their fundamental coding skills and fundamental knowledge of programming concepts and how they apply them to problem solving. Same thing when a person joins Neo, they do get access to things like Cursor and Claude eventually, but in their first couple of weeks when they're onboarding, we deliberately don't give them access just to make sure they understand our code base and they understand how things are built. So while they're onboarding, before we give them that like superpower of AI. But overall, we're very pro AI. Like we want to use it more and more. Our product team has started using AI as well, things like Bolt to do POCs. It's been super interesting to like sit in on some of those meetings where product will literally show what they want built, and it's like a functioning prototype that they were
Hmm.
able to build just with text, and then they hand that over to devs, and then devs obviously poke at it, ask questions, and then like get it production ready by writing their own code as well. But yeah, we're pro AI for sure.
Nice. There's a question about using AI in code reviews as well from Pedro. I'm guessing that's something. Is that how is that?
Yeah, I just reply on the chat there as well. Yeah, we do use Copilot for code reviews as well. We are also trying to explore more AIs for that as well. But we use like the multiple AIs here for like coding, helping unit testing, and all that. We use Cursor, Copilot, Cloud Code. Yeah, we use a bunch of AI here.
Very cool. Also, a few questions about different types of positions in terms of seniority. So junior, intermediate. I'm just talking about like the hiring philosophy around those kind of roles.
Yeah, so we always want to have a balanced team, and so we invest a lot more than some of our peers. As I look at other companies into juniors and intermediates, but we are unable to hire juniors and intermediates internationally, and so most of our hiring is actually done locally, like within kind of Canada, North America, especially at that intermediate junior level. For international, there are some restrictions just on what type of people, what type of candidates we can bring over into the country, and so it has to be kind of senior and above. And so for this hiring event, and basically all the hiring that we do through VanHack is for senior staff, manager, kind of those roles and above. we cannot support kind of juniors or mid-level engineers from an immigration perspective over to Canada, and we hire tons of seniors kind of within Canada, within Calgary as well.
Nice. Thank you. Um, all right, there was one question here that I saw that oh yeah, English. So what is the level of English that's expected to be able to join the company?
Yeah, we do expect folks to be have strong English and be very fluent and be very comfortable speaking English because for for top seniors, for seniors in general, you are going to be collaborating a lot with your peers, and that has to be done in English because you're going to be collaborating with potentially business stakeholders, product team members, other developers on the team, and then that responsibility, that communication gets more and more important when you get to staff as well. And so we do expect a very high level of English. If anyone's on the fence, like still apply because we get the videos right from VanHack to kind of test people's English. Also, like if it is a skill like everything else, and so I don't view it as a static thing. Like if you're willing to, if you're if there's some gaps there, but they're reasonable and they're coachable, and you're willing to learn, and your tech is phenomenal, like we'll kind of work with you on that as well. And so, if you have some English skill, if you've worked in an English speaking company, if you feel like you're fluent, but maybe not the strongest, like you're not the Tom Cruise of English, but you can speak English overall, I would still encourage you to apply. And because we're more interested in your behaviors, your culture impact, your technical ability. And English to me is not like a binary thing. It's more so kind of where are you on your journey of learning English, and if it's a reasonable point and we can coach you on that, and you're willing to improve, like that's all good.
Nice. Your English is always getting better. It's one of our VanHack community values for sure. And yeah, I just want to take this moment to highlight like the importance of doing the VanHack intro video. Look at it as a way to have like a free English assessment because it'll give you about 5 minutes after you recorded your result in terms of like fluent or advanced, intermediate, etc. So you'll know kind of where you stand. Usually, if you're upper intermediate and above on those intro videos, your English is good enough to get hired abroad based kind of on all the different hires that we've made over the years. And yeah, having like an intro video and a full kind of well presented, filled out VanHack profile really makes a big difference because when we're reviewing, we need to know who you are and what kind of you work with. So if you don't have a full filled out profile, it's hard for us to do that. Yeah, so just log into VanHack, check out your profile, and you'll see all that information. All right, we have last 10 minutes here. Seeing some people need to drop off. Everyone will be putting this recording onto the YouTube channel, sending it out via email later today. So you can watch it again and share it with your friends. And then again, the link to apply to the event is here. So if you apply to that event, we'll also add you to the specific position and then review your profile. All right, maybe time for 2 or 3 more questions here. Um, yeah, Miguel asked about working like from home versus office, kind of what's Neo's culture around where people work.
Yeah, so we describe ourselves as in office first. And so what that means is, everyone should want to come into the office as kind of their default setting. But we are 4 days in office and 1 day remote. And the reason for that is a lot of the success that we've had in a very short amount of time, like we've grown a lot faster than kind of any other company in Canada in the last 5 years. And a big reason for that is because the dev team is typically together. And when teams are together, they can make decisions a lot quicker, especially when we're trying to solve problems or figure out how to implement a feature that no one in Canada has built using like a modern stack. It's really important to ideate, communicate, uh, and kind of even help each other in real time a lot faster, which really helps. But we do understand that it's really important to be flexible. And so right now we're 1 day remote for engineers. That remote day is also a heads down day, and what that means is it's a day without distractions or meetings. And so once in a while, we might call you in on that day, but then we'll supplement that with a different day to be heads down or remote. But that specific day is actually designed to give time back to the devs, like a distraction-free time, so that they can do really meaningful, deep work without kind of being distracted by other parts of the company. Like we are still expected to communicate with each other through Slack, pull request reviews, a quick question and answer here and there. But devs can kind of pick a few things and just like spend the whole day on them, which is really, I think, important for development. And then if anyone ever needs an additional day to be remote, like based on whatever's going on in your life, like it's totally fine. It just comes down to communication. And so on paper, we are 4 days in office, 1 day remote. But if it ends up being 3 days for someone a particular week because they have something going on in their life, or there's a specific reason to be remote, like that's totally fine. We want to be as flexible as we can on that front. And so we also have a work from anywhere program. And so, once a year, you can, you submit a request for the work from anywhere program, which allows you to work remotely for an extended period of time. And so a lot of our team members take advantage of this that are international, that want to go home for like a specific celebration that's happening in their country or in their culture, or if they want to spend time with their family for an extended period of time. Sometimes it doesn't make sense just to go back for like a week or two. And so the work from anywhere program is a really nice way to allow people to be kind of away for a longer period of time, and that's open to everybody at the company. And then we're also okay with folks combining some remote time and some paid time off. And so if you want to go back home, or if your best friend's getting married halfway across the world and you want to be away for more than a week or two, like we can chat and discuss what makes sense and what's reasonable in terms of you having the ability to work remotely and also take some time off while you're away as well, to kind of combine those things. And so we want people that understand the value of being in office, because it does help the company, and because you have equity in the company, it also helps you kind of in the long haul, to be building a company that's going to continue to grow and be successful. But we also understand that like you're doing stuff for us, and we want to give back by being flexible for you as well. And so that just comes down to conversations.
Nice. That's a really great explanation of the nuances of the culture. And having been to the new office myself a few years ago, it's definitely a really cool place with inside of like the old Hudson's Bay office or store, which is a really storied, I guess, retail chain here in Canada. It's very beautiful. Yeah, and also very central location, right downtown. All right. Let's see. We have a few maybe one more question we can go to. That would be, let's see who wants to ask the final question. Final boss. Well, let me just ask well, here someone asked quickly, like a 4 years experience acceptable, just a year of experience for the event. I think people we're looking for kind of 6 years plus for the Sao Paulo event. Excuse me. And then someone asked about salary ranges. There's a lot of different positions open, but maybe salary ranges for the positions in Brazil. And then I also have one final question, and we can finish things.
Yeah, so it really depends on the candidate, and so it's hard to kind of pin down a salary range. But if you were to search kind of a competitive salary in Calgary, we are competitive slash top of market for Calgary specific software dev salaries. But our compensation is a combination of salary, bonuses, and equity for seniors and staffs. And we give people optionality to choose how much salary they want to take, how much risk they want to take with their bonus, and then also how much equity they want to take. And so it's a really wide range, because people make different decisions within those ranges. But if you were to look up software dev salaries in Calgary, like we are super competitive, and last year we are able to kind of win talent locally based on that range. And so super competitive within Calgary. And then we think of compensation when it comes to your long-term outcomes with the equity. Similar to how companies like Netflix, Airbnb, Facebook back in the day, DoorDash, Roblox, very similar to those high growth companies, like how they approach their, even Shopify, like how they approach their compensation models when they were private, kind of pre-exit, pre-IPO, is very similar to kind of how we approach it as well.
Awesome. And then just final questions. Actually, I like Pedro's question better than mine. What are the biggest challenges that Neo is facing that new devs need to know about before they start?
Yeah, I think I've got an answer, and then Eduardo, if you want to jump in from your perspective. And so for me, I think it's when we started the company, we thought, if we have 500,000 users in 5 years, that would be amazing growth, and that would be like our big north, big audacious goal. And we crossed 1 million users in 2 years, and we've been growing ever since. And so a lot of the code that we wrote 3 years ago, 4 years ago, that's still running, wasn't written with 1 million people in mind in terms of scale. And on top of that, we have products in the market that are being used a lot, but we're also missing features. And so having to build features while also thinking about how to refactor the current state of that feature becomes a very tricky thing and a very critical thing to make sure that like we're taking care enough of the feature that we're building on top of, so that it can handle the right amount of scale without over engineering and without spending too much time before getting into the hands of the user. I think that's a very tricky balance that every company that's going from, let's say, 1 to 10 goes through. And so, up until maybe last year, we were probably in the 0 to 1 category of company where we have an idea and it's all about bringing it to market and getting people to use it enough to prove that we have product market fit. We probably have that product market fit on a lot of the features that we've already built, but not every single one. And then, so we're in this zone of like, we were 0 to 1 and now we're going from 1 to 10. And so scale, reliability, security, robustness gets really, really important. One more thing I want to add is that let's say Ilya and myself and Eduardo decided to build the TikTok of Canada, right? Like, let's say that was our idea and we're building that. We build this algorithm that sends you videos. And let's say all of you on this call are users and some of you are getting videos that you don't like. In that case, you just swipe and you keep going. And it's not that really big of a deal. If you get a video that you don't like, you just swipe and you keep going to the next one. Anytime you're building financial products that have to do with people's own money, the bar for error is zero. And so, if I'm going to transfer money in, from one account to the next, it has to work 100% of the time exactly how I expect. If I'm going to send a transfer to Ilya or Eduardo, it can't go from the wrong account. It can't be the wrong amount. It can't be delayed. It can't be confusing if it got sent. Like, the experience and the tech has to be bulletproof. And so that does create naturally a lot of pressure to deliver stuff that's a 10 out of 10 every single time. And that's very hard to do in a startup that's still experimenting and trying to get things out to the user really fast. But on the flip side, whether it's Eduardo or other people that have come to Neo, if you come to Neo and you spend some time here, your career does get a lot better. Your technical skill set naturally does get a lot better. And that's also a big reason why we give so much equity in the company, is because the role that you guys are going to have is going to impact our growth and our success. And by going through this, high growth company that has a lot of pressure, where the tech bar is really high, we, on the end of that, we want everyone involved to have really amazing financial outcomes. And so that's kind of how we think about challenges, and also like thinking about like not just having the challenge, but like what's in it for our users and what's in it for you, the folks that are building stuff for our users. So I'll hand it over to Eduardo.
Yeah, sure. But I think you covered pretty well. Yeah, I would say like the biggest challenge that our developers should be facing is, of course, like making sure that the new features that they were working on is scalable. and also delivering the right values and the right amounts for our customers. But also, those developers should also be looking on the code that was built like 4 years, 5 years ago, that was built in a way that we're thinking a different scale, but we still need to support that legacy code and also prepare to make improvements on that code, refactor, and do migrations to properly to a system that can scale better on the moment that we are right now, right? Yeah, those I think those are like the main ones, and also like the company always support developers as well to have space on their sprints to do new features, but also looking on tech debt as well that they need to pay. So we have those space on our sprints as well. It's just a matter to the teams to organize themselves to prioritize accordingly what needs to be done first on their sprints.
Awesome. Thanks, Eduardo. And thanks, Fahad. And thanks, everyone else who's been here with us for the webinar. We actually are a few minutes over, so really appreciate everyone's time. Just to reiterate, if you'd like to get hired at Neo, the opportunity here to meet the team in person, that's really the best way to put your best foot forward. Just gonna put final time, the link in the chat for people who'd like to apply. If you have any questions, I'm sure you can reach out to either Eduardo or Fahad on LinkedIn, or yeah, probably that's the best channel, right, guys?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, and then this video again will be posted on YouTube. So yeah, and if you have any questions for me, just ilya@vanhack.com or find me in the VanHack Slack. And hope everyone has a great day, and see you all in Sao Paulo on December 6th and 7th. Cheers,
Thank you,
everybody.
guys. Thank you,
See
everyone.
you.
Bye.